Hello friends, welcome to London. This is the first time I've been here in around 2 years since we had all the whole lockdown things. I'm staying in Victoria and we're going to the eToro Popular Investor Conference this morning, so let's go. Just came out of the hotel. And actually there's a big tube strike today, so it's going to be interesting seeing what is going on with the people waiting at bus stops and stuff like that. But lovely morning. Not that busy on the roads as I thought it would have been. So I think a lot of people are actually just working from home here. I'm just crossing the River Thames on Lambeth Bridge, I believe. Lovely morning. So I actually walked to this conference because, as you can see, bus stops pretty horrible.
Later today, but what is true, of course, is that despite or
even now in those bearish times. My biggest exposure is in sectors.
Hypothetically, someone could, hold you at gunpoint and force you to sell all your stocks, causing all your copyists to lose all their stocks and sell them. So, really take that seriously.
Picture the food for
From my YouTube channel. Fantastic chicken and brown jambalaya or something. Look at all these chocolate cakes, stuff like that. Hot dogs. Fantastic. Jay Nemesis, Mr. G, hello. Pizza.
You need what's the one then?
Thank you very much.
So many popular investors. I've met some of you before in various events of eToro, but this is the first annual summit of the one, and I always tell people in eToro and eTorians, I love counting in millions and billions. It's much more fun, which leads me to the assets of eToro customers, which is for you, by the way, to bring in as copier. So here's your current total available market that we bring into the table as assets under year like this year happens. And it's fine, because if it's a part of a 10-year track record, then being in the red 1 year doesn't necessarily mean you're done. You can continue and build your track record over time after bear markets, and you can actually see here that basically Berkshire Hathaway had a couple of very, very bad years, by the way, usually correlated to the S&P. But again, when you look at a 20, 30, 40 years horizon, then everything fixes itself. And by the way, that was my aha moment. For some of you that's going to sound scary, so I apologize, is the value of eToro compounds with your track record. So in 10 years from today, when we'll be in the annual Popular Investor Summit with hopefully 3,000 people, maybe we'll bring Guns N' Roses, and we'll have people with 10 and 15 year track record, but average yearly returns of 20-30%, that together compounds into something that's very, very hard to beat. When you look at the 3 or 5 year horizon, it becomes very interesting.
It might not be worth your time. Definitely, and I heard Jeppe say this earlier, you need to make sure that whatever content you put out there is summarized, so you don't want to repeat yourself too much. And I think it's a bit of an art, taking huge paragraphs of information and boiling them down to their very essence, to the executive summary, to those few bullet points.
Saying 20 years career. Not many players or sportsmen and women get through their career doing 20 years and not missing much of those 20 years. A few injuries here and there, but that's about it. But getting through that and the ups and downs, I've had a lot, about everything really. I think winning the double with Arsenal is, my first season. It was a difficult season. There was a lot of, I don't know, I'm going to people out there were around London around about that time.
I'm a Spurs fan, so
yeah. So it's pretty kind of hostile. They didn't have football careers. They had a totally different careers, but you know, as a footballer, as a young boy with so many things that can distract you in these kind of areas, you had to be, or you just didn't make it.
Right, and I suppose once you did make it,
you never make it. There's always a chance.
Well, I think
you
we're
never
going
make
to.
it. Yeah.
Once you had made it, you know, you were obviously in the public eye quite a lot, which is also a very big transformation that you would have had to have adapted to. How did you handle being in the public eye? Was it natural? Were you just shy? Did you kind of? How did you handle it?
I think for me, I think when I was growing up, I think things got really, really confused, and the media were just a bit kind of. The media back then was just not mature enough, understanding different cultures and different, you know, people from different backgrounds, and how different people could be, even in London, let alone a different country. And it got so confused, and it got you know, if you weren't like, I don't know, drinking, you know, getting pissed, rolling out of a nightclub, you weren't a footballer, you know, you had to do that, you know. But if you was kind of reading, you know, the Times, the Telegraph, or playing chess, or actually studying for another job, if your football doesn't make it, you're weird. I mean, that now is normal now. But back when I started, it was really kind of stuck, and you had a lot of journos, and football was just kind of archaic when it looked at, you know, what a footballer could do as a footballer and off the field as well. It was confusing, it's alien to them, and they had one way of looking at you in a box, and it just got all kind of confused. Now it's a lot better. You know, football clubs have media training people in every day, from youth team, from 16, so the time they're 18, 19 and they get in front of the camera, they're kind of really well versed. I didn't have that. I had to do it all myself. You know, most players of my age had to do it themselves. They didn't. Some were, you know, had kind of groups around them, like the beginning of some of the big agencies, and they went into that. But 90% of the players were just, you know, if you was switched on, you switched on. If you wasn't switched on, you wasn't switched on.
Sink or swim. But I mean, how did you just ignore it when they wrote stuff about you, saying, you know, oh, he must be weird if he's not like out getting drunk every night with, you know, rolling out of nightclubs and whatever else? Or did you kind of take it personally?
That's the trouble. I walked out of a nightclub. I didn't roll out of a nightclub. That's the difference. I didn't have to kind of drink, you know, to oblivion of my mind to kind of actually have a good time. So.